Discovered my 38 male wife, 38 female, of 17 years has been texting another man for 1.5 years and hiding it from me. This is a throwaway account, for reasons which will become obvious. I apologize in advance for the wall of text, but there's a lot here. To give you the backstory, my wife and I have been married for 17 years and have 2 children, 16 male and 10 female. We were high school sweethearts who got married just after college. Our marriage has been mostly solid with no major issues, no splits, no mistreatment, no cheating, no dead bedroom, etc. I've never had much reason to doubt my wife in the past, and don't snoop on her phone/email, etc. I have a high-stress job that requires me to work a lot. I'll admit that I've started reading our relationships a relatively short while ago, and to be honest, I felt like it was making me a little paranoid about infidelity. In addition, my wife has been acting a little strange lately, i.e. being more guarded of her phone, coming to bed hours after I go to bed, etc. So yesterday, I needed to submit my phone bill to my employer for expense purposes. We have bring your own device and my employer reimburses us for a portion of our mobile phone bill as long as we submit the bill. I printed the bill and noticed it was longer than usual, 42 pages. With our provider, the bill lists all of the calls and texts you make during the month. So I start flipping through the bill and get to my wife's phone and notice one number repeatedly coming up a lot. Like, there's literally an entire page of uninterrupted text, probably 100 plus, just to and from this number. There are multiple entries where she was texting this person until 1 or 2 in the morning, and one day where she texted continuously from 5 to 7. I usually get home around 7, and then again from 9 to 11:30. Not only is the number not one I recognize, but it's not from our area code. It's from an area code in the same metro area as us, roughly 45 minutes away. So I punch the number into Facebook, and some guy's name comes up, again, that I don't recognize and my wife has never mentioned to me. I call it from my work number, and voicemail states the same name. So I confront my wife about it. She confesses to having carried on a non-romantic relationship with this person for 1.5 years. She said she was lonely, and went online on a website for people looking for non-romantic relationships. To be clear, she's had male friends in the past, and we currently have couple friends that are male/female, and I've never objected to her talking to them. But she consciously hid this from me for 1.5 years, and during the period repeatedly lied to me when I would ask her who she was texting until 1 a.m. She insists nothing physical happened and that they've never even met in person, and I'm inclined to believe her. She justified it to herself by saying that it never crossed that line. At the same time, I'm feeling very emotionally cheated on. She took a lot of time that she wasn't investing in our relationship and put it into a relationship with another man that she hid from me. I'm at something of a loss here. I make enough money that we don't have to worry about paying the mortgage if we split, and I'm not worried about finding another partner if that happened. I stay in pretty good shape. I love our kids as well, and would really miss seeing them every night. That being said, I really feel like my trust was violated and don't know how I can recommit to spending my life with someone who would lie to me like that for 1.5 years. Am I making too much of this? Edit to answer some of the obvious questions that I should have addressed from start. Yes, she's extremely apologetic. Her initial response, when I asked her about it, was he's just a friend. I pushed on that and she's admitted that it was inappropriate and that she lied about it. She was extremely apologetic and said that she would do anything not to lose me. She texted him last night and told him that she can't be in touch with him anymore and deleted his contact information from her phone. If we stay together, we will absolutely do couples counseling. Too long didn't read. Discovered my wife of 17 years has been texting some other guy for 1.5 years without my knowledge. Need to know what to do. Hey guys, please like, comment, and subscribe. It would really help me out. Thanks. Don't make any plans for your future until you have read the text. You don't have to read all of them, but a week's worth of text will show you if there were any I love yous or any exchanges of pictures. If she was exchanging I love yous and had pet names for each other, then the affair was much deeper than clandestine friendship. Update. First, I'll start by apologizing again for the wall of text. There's a lot here, and it may not be interesting to some, but it's cathartic to me. Second, before I start, I want to sincerely thank all those who commented on my post, but especially those who mentioned the iPhone recovery software. I owe you a huge debt. Your why Reddit is great. Okay, we left off Monday night with her admitting to an emotional affair with another man for 1.5 years, but saying that was it. After I posted on Reddit, and people mentioned the iPhone recovery software, I phoned to tell her not to use her phone and that I was going to recover the information later that night. She immediately admitted to romantic texting the other guy. I got home and tried to run the software. For whatever reason, Probably human error. It didn't work well. It only pulled up portions of 350 texts, and none of them seemed relevant. I decided not to pay $70 for the whole install and dropped the idea. I went out with a friend for drinks at 7 to discuss, and he thought I should give my wife a second chance, as long as she had never met the other guy. I got home around 9:30. She was sitting with her best friend in the sunroom talking. I said an awkward hi to the best friend, who I am sure knew, and went up to my office. My wife came up 10 minutes later, when her friend had left, and immediately started yelling at me, telling me that I basically needed to get over it, and that she wasn't going to feel like she had today for 6 months. I kind of flipped out, noting that I had known for 30 hours, and was only receiving trickle truths during that period. After we finished yelling at each other, she left. She went into my daughter's bedroom to comfort her. I assumed she left to text the other guy, and I finished up my work and went to bed in the guest room. I woke up about 1:30. I went into the master bedroom and grabbed her phone. I scrolled through the texts and emails, but there was almost nothing there, as anything older than a day or so had been deleted. I felt horrible. I felt like I needed to be able to trust her, but continued to firmly believe she was lying to me and that there were things she wasn't telling me. I put the phone back in her room and then went back into the office. I googled iPhone recovery software and saw a couple results that looked interesting. I went back into the room and grabbed her phone again. This time she woke up and followed me into the office. I paid more attention to the software this time. I turned the phone into airplane mode. I disabled iTunes Autosync. I closed all the programs, etc. I ran the free test and it came back with 3,500 results, the 6th of which was from the other guy. I paid the $50 for the software and ran the full program. It took about 10 minutes, during which she continually tried to convince me not to look at it. Once I had the results, I started going through the text. The good news was that there was nothing that suggested she and the other guy met. I had been in Europe from Monday through Thursday of last week, and there were lots of recent texts. A lot of them were romantic, but none suggested they were meeting. Which gets to the bad news. I asked when they started romantic texting. She said October. I looked through the text. They're not really organized by name, just file size, so you kind of have to look through all of them, and found one from July. It was clearly from someone else anyway. The style was very different, and was very romantically forward. There was also discussion of meeting up. So she trickle-truthed meeting up with 2 other guys from Craigslist. She said she fooled around with one of them, but that they met at a park, so they didn't have romance. At that point, I honestly felt like a huge weight had been taken off my shoulders. All of the doubt that I could trust her again became irrelevant, and I knew I could move on with a clean conscience. Later that night, she trickle-truthed sleeping with the other Craigslist guy. One time. Last night she admitted to sleeping with another guy in Alaska when she went there alone on vacation a year and a half ago. I do believe her that she didn't meet the guy she was texting continuously given the texts I read, although given the way the texts were progressing, I firmly believe it would have happened eventually, and that nothing seemed to happen when I was out of town for a week, but it doesn't really matter now. You can guess the postscript. She's been crying her eyes out and begging me to give her another chance. I plan on sticking together through the holidays for the sake of the kids, but we'll be moving out come January. Wow, yeah, the amount of lies and bullpoop, and her getting coached by her friend to yell at you. There is no way you can save this. She is just a bad person on the inside. I am sorry, but it's true. I think you talk to a lawyer first and figure out your options before you make any final decisions. Moving out of the house can hurt you depending on where you live. You can split without hurting your kids too much, but it doesn't mean you give up the house without a fight. Please double check the right steps for your location so you don't get screwed. My 26 female boyfriend, 32 male, keeps getting drinks with his female friend, and I just found out she doesn't know I exist. So I posted about this before, but the whole situation got worse. The summary of the previous issue is that my boyfriend kept going out for drinks, an hour or two a few times a month, with this married woman, Lucy, who I'd never met. It wasn't a huge deal, and I was only mildly uncomfortable about it because he has cheated in a past relationship. Not with me, but I never mentioned it to him. Then today things got worse. Last night my boyfriend mentioned Lucy again, and I casually told him I'd love to meet her. He said sure, no problem. End of discussion. I figured the problem was solved. This morning my boyfriend spent like 4 hours tidying up the apartment, and basically not talking to me much, not ignoring me, just being busy with other things. No problem. Around 2 p.m. I asked him if he's hungry. Does he want to eat lunch? He said no. He's not hungry. So I sat in the kitchen alone, and ate lunch while he had a beer alone on the balcony. Fine. Then right after I finished eating he told me, boyfriend, Lucy just texted me to see if I want to get some drinks. I'm going to meet up with her. Do you mind? Me, I guess not. He could tell I was uncomfortable. Boyfriend. What's wrong? Me, I was waiting for you all morning and even ate lunch alone, and then now you're leaving to go see Lucy. I don't know. It's fine. Go. Boyfriend. Why don't you come with us? Me, well, you are leaving now, and I haven't showered yet. Does she know I exist? By the way, boyfriend. She knows you are a friend of mine. Me, a friend. She doesn't know I'm your girlfriend. Boyfriend. No, little by little people will know. Just come. Me, we've been in a relationship for 2 years. Dude, we live together. So you've been spending time with this woman I've never met who doesn't even know you have a girlfriend. If I came with you, would you introduce me to her as your friend? As your girlfriend? Boyfriend. Well, as my friend. Do you want me to introduce you as my girlfriend? I will do it if you think it's the right time. Me. Whoa, don't turn this around on me and make it seem like I'm forcing you to introduce me as your girlfriend. This whole thing makes me really uncomfortable. Boyfriend. If you want her to know you're my girlfriend, then come with me and we will tell her. Me, don't you realize what an awkward situation that would be for me? Hello, I'm Jessica. I've actually been in a relationship with your friend for 2 years, but you knew nothing about it? Nice to meet you. Boyfriend, it won't be awkward. Come. Me, I am not coming, and I'm actually quite upset with you. Well, he left to go meet her anyway. Once he got there, he called me and told me to come again, and I said no way. Then he called again, but when I picked up he immediately handed the phone to Lucy, who told me to come. It was really awkward, and I asked her to please give the phone back too. I told him this was really rude, and I'm very upset now. He just kept telling me to come on over. He's still out drinking with her right now, and he's treating the whole situation like a joke. He keeps texting me come over, and jokes and stuff like it's hilarious and silly that I'm upset about this. Am I overreacting? Or is this just really uncool of him and really bad relationship etiquette? Too long didn't read. I found out that my boyfriend never even told this girl that he had a girlfriend. Now he wants me to come and introduce myself as his girlfriend, but I think that's super awkward. It's been 2 years, and he's saying little by little. People will know, does this guy keep you in the basement or something? Well, he is divorced, so I can kind of understand why he would want to not introduce me to family right away, but goddamn, it's been 2 years, dude, and you're spending time with a female, not to mention drinking with her. It's inappropriate for you to not introduce me. My 27 female girlfriend of 2 years won't forgive me for cheating on my ex-fiance. 28 female, and I'm 28 male, at a loss. Background. So I know this sub often quotes once a cheater, always a cheater. I agree and disagree at the same time. I cheated on my exfiance when I was 24. I had recently found out after my mother passed that she was not actually my mother, but my grandmother. My junkie sister, who outed when I was 15, was actually my bio mom. My fiance, at the time, Alma, told me that I needed to get over it because there was nothing I could do. She stopped wanting to talk to me even if it was about her day, and I felt emasculated constantly. She refused to have romance for months at a time, and I withdrew. We both stopped trying, but neither of us were ready to let go as we were high school sweethearts, and were afraid of being without each other. Long story short, I had a one-night stand. In the moment it felt nice that someone was interested in my day, in me, and found me romantically attractive, and then it felt like someone dropped a boulder on me. I told Alma immediately the day after, and we split up. I am by no means proud of myself for cheating. I felt sick to my stomach looking at myself, and took a year to reevaluate my life. I moved apartments, hit the gym, ate better, tried Buddhism, and now I feel better. Alma and I even got together after the year to talk things out. She apologized for pulling away, and I apologized for cheating. We forgive each other. We'll never be great Friday ends again, but I feel better knowing that we won't cringe when we see the other person. I met my now girlfriend, Sasha, at a mutual friend's party. I got her number, and we really hit it off. When we broached the conversation about past relationships, I told her what happened between me and Alma. I told her that if she had any questions, or if this made her feel uncomfortable, then to let me know. She seemed fairly understanding, though she had never cheated or been cheated on, and we continued to have a wonderful relationship. We moved in together in November. Nowish about the end of February, she started to become increasingly curious about the cheating. She asked me if the one-night stand and I ever talked after, if she knew I had a fiancé, if Alma wanted to try and work things out, if I ever tried to get with other women in relationships, etc. I answered her honestly to all, and let her know that if she's concerned that I'm going to cheat again, I'll keep my electronics and such open to her. Things seemed to be alright for a bit, until I noticed that Sasha was compulsively going through my electronics. She didn't ask me any more questions regarding my infidelity, but just became very jealous and controlling. For example, 3 weeks ago I had to take my computer to the shop because it had been acting buggy. Come to find out that a keylogger of some sort had been installed on my computer. I brought this up to Sasha, and she asked why I took my computer in, that it worked fine for her, and that maybe it downloaded when I went onto some recorded romance site. Another example would be Alma messaging me on Facebook last week wondering why I sent her, and another girl from high school text messages. I had no idea what she was talking about, and she sent me screen caps from a cell phone number that's obviously mine. The texts weren't inappropriate, but obviously out of place. They just tried to strike up a conversation, but were obviously not done in my tone. Again, I asked Sasha and she seemed genuinely clueless and baffled. I checked my online account, and it confirmed that the messages were sent from my phone. Yesterday, Sasha and I went out to celebrate her friend Danielle's promotion. When Sasha went to the bathroom, Danielle brought up cheating. She told me about this ex that cheated on her all the time and cheated in all of his relationships. Once a cheater, you know. I told her that for some people that's true, but I think once a cheater should be reflective of the relationship that someone cheated in. I always know Alma will see me as a cheater. I can't take that away, but I never want to cheat again. I never want to step into a relationship and be treated like a cheater. I explained this to Danielle without referencing my past infidelity. She laughed and told me I diluted myself, and that Sasha better keep her eye on me. Sasha came back, and I excused myself and told Sasha I felt sick and wanted to go home. She wanted to stay and said I could just Uber. I Ubered home and watched some Netflix. Sasha came home a little tipsy and began to slyly ask if I came home immediately or if I detoured. I asked her why she was being so distrustful, as I felt I kept communications open to her and have not given her a reason to not believe me. She went silent, then excused herself to go to bed. When I joined her, she was on her laptop and slammed it shut when I entered the room. Today I'm fuming. I've done everything I feel I can to help alleviate any worries of cheating. I've done my best to be a better person than who I once was. I'm at a loss and don't know if this is a normal reaction when you date someone who once cheated. Is this worth salvaging with Sasha, or should I just cut and run? Yep. She's pretending to be you and texting people from your phone and asking her girlfriends to try to get dirt on you. Not salvageable. Sorry, man. I just don't understand why she felt the need to text Alma or the other girl from my high school. I don't understand if that's insecurity or crazy, but I guess I need to create a quiet exit plan. Any tips? Update. So I'm just going to sum things up because there's a lot of detail, and it's great for long stories with friends. Maybe not Reddit. Sasha told me she was going to visit her mother because there was a health emergency last week. I took her to the airport and immediately moved all essentials out of my place to a storage locker not far from it. I had my computer and phone scrubbed of keyloggers and trackers. There were several on each. A good friend of mine offered me his spare room until a month is up, as I had to leave a 30-day written notice for Sasha in the apartment. I decided it would be best to wait until she got home to let her know we broke up to not distract from her family. The day before Sasha was supposed to fly back, I received an eerie Facebook message from Alma. Apparently for the past couple days her home had been messed with. Someone left gates open, tore through screen doors, broke a couple pots in yard, and she felt like she was being watched. She asked if there was any chance that I or Sasha was behind all of this. It pained me to say it, but part of me thought Sasha or Danielle might be, as I had no idea where Alma currently lived. I informed her about the keylogger, the trackers, and other issues. Alma asked what kind of car I drove, as she had noticed the same car driving by several times and was now parked at the end of her block. It was not Sasha's vehicle or mine, so I assumed Danielle might be excessive following Alma on Sasha's behalf while I was gone. Alma asked if I would come deal with this, as she was very upset to be involved involuntarily in this issue, and to at least provide company so she wouldn't be home alone. She gave me her address, and off I went. Come to find out, Sasha never boarded the plane. She bought a ticket and turned around as soon as I did. She rented a car and went to excessively follow Alma, probably in hopes to catch me going back to Alma, which in her eyes happened as soon as I showed up to Alma's place. I arrived and Sasha came bulldozing out of her rented car towards me. She kept screaming at me for cheating on her, that she knew I'd run back to that salty, that the second she was gone I couldn't keep my noodle in my pants. Alma came out of her house at the sound of the screams and Sasha tried to sprint at her. Thankfully Alma was able to get back into her home and lock the door in time, while Sasha began to hurl things around her yard. The police arrived and took everyone aside for statements. Alma showed pictures of prior damage, photos of the car parked at the end of the block, Facebook messages between me, and I did the same. Surprisingly, it seemed that Sasha didn't deny any of it. She even admitted to excessive following Alma's Facebook enough to determine where she lived based on photos. The worst moment was when they put Sasha into the police car. She looked me dead in the eye and told me that what she did for me and our love together. We will be together, she swears. The police officer apologized and said I should start looking into a restraining order ASAP. So that's what I've been doing this week. I think I want to be single for some time now. Too long didn't read. Sasha installed several keyloggers and trackers on my electronic devices. She then began to excessively follow Alma at her home. I came by, and the police were called. I'm going to be single for some time. Thanks, folks. Being able to write everything out last time and read it all in one place really made me realize how many red flags I waved away. She looked me dead in the eye and told me that what she did for me and our love together. We will be together, she swears. That is so unsettling. I'm glad you and Alma are safe. You should talk to her about also looking into getting a restraining order for herself against Sasha. I'm not sure what Alma's plans are right now, but we're both refraining from further contact from each other. She's removed herself from Facebook, and that's all I know.